Long before Tomcat and Brangelina dominated the Hollywood landscape, as well as the gossip magazines and paparazzi, there was Pickfair. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks were two of the biggest names in the movie industry in the 1920s. Together, they were the most famous couple in the world. Their regal Beverly Hills estate was the place to be and the place to be seen. Now, thanks to Julien's Auctions and Auction Network, you can own a piece of Hollywood history. Hundreds of personal items and fine art pieces from the Pickfair estate are being sold in a wonderful two-day event. The auction takes place November 22nd and 23rd in Beverly Hills, California, and Auction Network is giving viewers the opportunity to watch and bid on the auction live from the comfort of their own home. Over the next half hour, we'll introduce you to Mary Pickford, Hollywood's first movie star and one of the most influential people the entertainment industry has ever known. Plus, we'll investigate her on-again, off-again relationship with superstar actor Douglas Fairbanks and how the two stars became the face of the Hollywood social scene.
Mary Pickford defined what a celebrity was. For 20 years, she was rated the most popular person in the world.
Mary Pickford is the first of the great stars of the cinema. When we look at women in particular, one of the earliest, she started in 1909 with D.W. Griffith, and by the teens, say 1916 or so, she was probably the most famous woman in the world.
Mary Pickford was born Gladys Louise Smith in Toronto, Canada in 1892. By the turn of the century, she was already appearing in local theater productions. By the time she was a teenager, she was a professional actress and the main breadwinner in the family.
She went to the offices of the Biograph Company in New York City in 1909, and that's where she met D.W. Griffith and made her first film.
Why don't you marry me, Norma?
Stanley, you're a dear.
Oh, I know you've heard it so often it's beginning to sound like a nickel. But I do so mean it.
I know you do, Stanley. And you're just adorable about it.
Pickford started working with him initially just as a company actress. So she was in small roles, pulled from the company. They would make these little short 10-minute films in 1 to 3 days, maybe a week if it was a major production. And she might turn out 2 films a week or more. In the course of just a few years, she made 145 short films.
In those days, film actors were often unnamed and irrelevant, but the world quickly took notice of Pickford, and it wasn't long before she became known as America's sweetheart.
People started writing letters about this girl that they saw, the one with the long curls. They liked her a lot. And it was those letters that kept coming and kept coming and kept coming that gave people the idea that, in fact, she was something special.
Moviegoers, young and old, were taken by Mary Pickford's grace and eloquence. Even in the silent film era, she brought something new and exciting to the silver screen.
I think what made Mary Pickford so successful and so charming to the public was a combination of beauty and spunk. She had a little bite to her. She was a beautiful young girl, but she was also a character over and over who demanded that things be right for her and right for the people around her. She didn't just take anything lying down. She wasn't the girl who was, tied to the tracks, who was saved by the hero. She was probably out there running with the guy and helping him do whatever it was he needed to do. And she was certainly somebody who was going to stand up for her rights and the rights of the people around her. And that little extra bit of energy was what attracted people to Mary Pickford.
If they break in here, they'll kill you too. Perhaps worse.
If you go out there, I go with you. Oh, don't you understand, John? I couldn't live if you gave yourself up to save us. I'd sooner die. I'd sooner we'd all die.
By 1913, however, the feature film had become an important part of the program, and she quickly moved into feature films, where she made more than 50 feature films in the course of her career between 1913 and 1933, when she retired from the screen as an actress.
Among her film credits were starring roles in Pollyanna, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, Little Annie Rooney, Sparrows, and the 1921 hit, Little Lord Fauntleroy. Pickford wasn't satisfied with just making herself a household name. She was insistent on boosting the careers of every actor in the entertainment industry.
Pickford became very important to the growth of star salaries as well as the growth of the star system. And she knew that she was valuable, and she asked to be paid accordingly. And as time went on, she would continually work on her salary because she could see very easily that what was selling these films was the popularity of the key players like herself.
Her keen business sense was revolutionary in the industry. In fact, she was the first actress ever to earn $1 million in a single year. Her knowledge and experience of the movie business made for a smooth transition when she left the stage for a role behind the camera.
Pickford became a producer as well as an actress. She ultimately had her own company, the Mary Pickford Company, and in 1919, in Congress with Douglas Fairbanks, Charlie Chaplin, and D.W. Griffith, she became the founder, or one of the founders, of United Artists.
Even in those days, Hollywood was on the lookout for the next big thing. The entertainment industry was changing, and there was less demand for Pickford. After 2 decades and hundreds of hit films, Mary Pickford's acting career gracefully came to an end.
By 1933, sound films are now well in their way. Mary Pickford had had her greatest success playing very young roles. She was now 41 years old, and she knew she couldn't play the younger roles all of her life, and they had been by far her most successful ones. So she decided it was time to stop. She didn't need anything else. She was already very, very well off. She already was probably one of the most famous women in the world. She was one of the most important hostesses in Hollywood. She was an owner of United Artists, and she didn't really need to make movies as an actress anymore. And so she decided to retire from the screen and let that part of her life go by. But that doesn't mean that she ended her life. She continued as a producer, she continued as a owner of United Artists, and she continued as an active creative force in the Hollywood community for many years to come.
When we come back, Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks unite and become the most famous couple in the world. But their relationship wasn't without controversy.
She and Fairbanks met somewhere around 1916 or so, and they fell in love. Both of them were married. Neither was in a happy marriage. And over a period of time, they carried on a very quiet, long-term affair.
Plus, we'll take you inside the Hollywood hotspot of the 20s and 30s, the Pickfair Estate, and showcase some of the amazing art and antiques being sold in this one-of-a-kind event. The Pickfair Estate Auction Preview Show continues right after this.